Hey there, everybody. So what we've got today are weights and a kettlebell. And what we're going to do in today's video is we're working with the lower body, just two very simple moves. We're going to do squats, weighted squats with the kettlebell, and then we're going to do weighted lunges with the two little weights, sets of weights, only 2 kgs. All of this video is going to be as an intro, and then later on we'll do the follow-on one where you can train with me. But this is just getting into the basics, learning how to use your weights, how to be careful with them, and how to get the maximum benefit from them. So, onto the mat. They're slightly wider than hip width apart, your feet are turned out to the side. Do you remember we did these before? We did these in the body weight training. So when you're coming down, just the bare mechanics again of this. As you come down, you're pushing your knees apart and taking your bottom back as though you're going to sit on a chair, and then you're pushing into your feet as you come up, and then you're squeezing your glutes as you get up to the top. So we do it first of all, let's do it first without the weights. Just see how your knees are feeling. If they're tight at all, just make sure that your knees are tracking over your feet. So that's why I have my feet at an angle. I do not want my knees don't like my feet forward. It's much easier if you take your knees apart, or take your feet apart and then open your knees as you go down. So open your knees, push your bum back, and then push into your feet as you come up. So to introduce weight into this, I have 2 ways of doing it. Let's try the kettlebell first. So I have a light kettlebell here. It's 5 kgs. So you can get lighter ones. So I would always swing it up. So the bell is to my chest, it's just resting on my sternum. And then I'm going to come down and push up. So that's a light enough weight for this. So again, how many reps, how many sets do I do? So because, you know, this is an introduction and you may not want to do too many, so I would do maybe 5, but really concentrating on what you're doing. So the kettlebell is resting on my chest. You can hold it this way, but I think that's much more awkward. I much prefer to do it this way because it means my back is in a better position, my elbows are tucked into my sides of my rib cage, and then when I come down and come up, I'm nicely aligned. So down and up. And then, so what's this working? It's working my quads and working my glutes. So both of those things really working here. Also my adductor muscles, your inner thighs and groin area. So again, set yourself up. Knees apart as you come down, and then pushing up. So you don't need a kettlebell to do this. So I have one other option with this one, and this is a weight. It's slightly more awkward, but you can still do it. So I can do it with a weight, holding on to the weight in the same kind of way. So coming down and pushing up. And then you need to really feel the activity that's going on here. You can do this casually and then not get the kind of results that you want to get. So as you come down, knees coming apart, bum back. As you come up, press into your feet. When you get to the top, squeeze your glutes. And then we go down and up. And then one more time, down and up. You can introduce more into this, of course. You can make it more demanding by sort of, I'll step back a little bit. And so you can come down and up, and when you come up then, you can take your weights up over your head. If we were to do that with the kettlebell, so we could do the same with the kettlebell. So you can come down, and when you come up, you can press right up. So it becomes a full body. So it becomes lower body and upper body, and it's more demanding. So it becomes a full body move. So again, the bell of the kettlebell resting on my sternum, I come down, and then I come up. And you can hear me breathing a little more deeply as I do this. That's because it's more demanding, okay? You come down, and you come up, and one more time, we come down, and then all the way up. Take the kettlebell in, and then swing it down to one side. So simple moves. So always when you're coming into this with your kettlebell, take the kettlebell forward first, hold on there, and then just swing it around. Don't knock it off your body, off your sternum, because as the kettlebell gets heavier, then you don't want to do that. So we're not doing kettlebell swings today, but it is something that we more often use a kettlebell for. So I'll just show you one swing that you might do with this. This is too light for me. So that comes up, yeah, it's way too light. So as I introduce more weight into the kettlebell, I'll show you how to do a proper kettlebell swing because they're really useful things to do. But you need the right weight to do that with. So that's our first. This is glutes, quads, adductor muscles, the inner thighs. To do a little more with your quads, a little more with your glutes, and of course all lower body stuff, we're going to come into lunges and weighted lunges. So I have quite light weight here with me for this. So just as you introduce it, I've just got 2 kgs. So reminding you what a lunge is like. So you're forward on your right foot, back on your left. So your feet are train tracks, so they're not one behind the other. You've got a nice little bit of space there. I'm going to fall over now. And then this is a lunge. That's simple, that's a lunge. Okay, so you don't need to take your knee all the way to the mat, but as close to the mat as you can get it. Basic lunge. How do you add weight? Weight in each hand. Right foot forward, left back. And that's all you're doing. You're just adding weight to your body. So most of us have the ability and have the strength to be able to do that with our body weight. And I'll show you, I'm sure I have a video of it, with me doing it with 35 kgs in each hand. That's 70 kgs, which is a lot more than I currently weigh, but you can build up to something like that. So it took me about 3 or 4 months to do that, working from something as light as this all the way up to 35 kgs in each hand. So anyway, so that's not to be boasting or anything like that. It's just show you what you can actually do. So you can take your body anywhere if you're prepared to put in the time and eat adequately to do it, get enough rest and enough sleep. But if you're prepared to put in the time and be so patient, because strength grows gradually, particularly as we age. It just takes that little bit longer, not so much for the building part, but for the recovery part. That's something we'll talk about another day. The one thing that we do need more of as we age is recovery time. So not doing, you cannot, although I train every day, it's all graduated. Heavy days, light days, active recovery days. So it's a whole way of thinking about body work as you get more and more experienced with it. So that was on my right foot. Now to lunge on my left. So remember, feet not in line, they're sort of hip width apart, and then you're taking your body down and up. So you don't need to move the weights at all. The weights are stationary and lifting up. And just to explain, Matt's moving around, that's the thing about a polished floor. When you're coming up and down, to make this more, get that mat out of the way, to make this more challenging, as you come up, you press into your front leg, or into that front foot to get yourself up. So you're switching on your quad all the time. Same on the other side. So try not to have the foot turned in or the foot turned out, foot aligned. So then how far back do you stand? How deep is your stance? And then again, that's up to you. Your body will find where it wants to be. For me, it's about here. And that's where I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable on my knees. And it doesn't matter if that knee goes forward over the foot. There's a whole argument about that you never take your knee beyond your foot. Of course you can take your knee over your foot. It's designed to be able to do that. But just working within your capacity, working with your knees. So the one thing that I think is important as we do this is that you look after your knees. So the minute you start to squat and you start to lunge, your knees may feel a little bit tight. And if they are, and if you've got an injury or an old injury in your knee, just avoid any of this stuff that I'm doing. Do with your body what works for your body, given the condition it's currently in. And always beginning really, really light with everything. You don't demand stuff. If you want to do more with any of this stuff, say the squats or the lunges, then you can introduce more weight, of course. The way of increasing it is to introduce more weight or more activity within it. Say, for instance, when you're down here, you might think, oh yeah, I'll do a bit of upper body here when I'm here as well. Or maybe I'll do some triceps when I'm here. So I'm holding my squat, building my legs, and then taking into my biceps. And then stepping back up. And the same on the other side. So I will do, again, of course I'll do a follow along one. These are just explanatory videos about introducing weights and getting them into your routine. So we just did simple things, really simple things today. And I'll just go back over them again really, really quickly. So the first one we did, and I'll use the kettlebell, was the kettlebell squat. So taking the kettlebell up, swinging it round, resting it on your sternum, feet a little wider than hip width apart, about at a 45-degree angle, and then sinking down as your bottom goes back, and then coming up and down and up. And then if we wanted to add more into it, I'll step back a bit to get that one in. So sinking down, and when you come up, then you're shooting your arms up over your body. Back down and shoot up. We'll do one more of those. Back down and then up. And taking your kettlebell in and dropping it down out of your way. And from there into our lunges, always beginning with just body weight first and then introducing your weights into it. So right foot forward, left foot back, sinking down and up and down and up. And then taking yourself around to the other side, down and up. And down and up. And then that's it. So there's so much more that we could do, but I thought we'd just do those two basic things to start with. So a squat, kettlebell squat, and a weighted lunge. Two very simple moves, but two really important moves because they work with the biggest muscles in your bodies. So the biggest muscles in your bodies are your quad complex here to the front, and your glutes, of course, the big powerhouse of our bodies. So there's something that we really need to work on because you do not want the tone going out of your bum, definitely, and you don't want it going out of your quads either. So we need to have strong legs. And what better way to grow strength than to work with the biggest muscles that you've got? And they are your glutes and your quads. So that's it. Introduction to body weight, or not body weight. Follow on from body weight strength into working with very, very light weights. Okay, see you next time. Right, so that's it. Two simple moves. The squat first with the kettlebell and then with the heavier weight. And then we had the lunges, the weighted lunges. And all of these are just intros. They're about how to set up properly, how to use your weights, how to handle your weights, where to begin. And then later on, we will do the full sequence where we, include a follow-along sequence with these, because I know these are very bitty and introductory, but that's what they're meant to be. All I'm trying to do is just get you to do this stuff safely, so you have a safe beginning with good foundations, and then we can build from that. So see you next time.